Hello, everyone. Welcome to Backstudio Milan. Today we will talk about furniture design with architect and designer Stefano Pugliese. Stefano is the founder of Stefano Pugliese Design Studio and lecturer in interior architecture and environmental design at Fine Arts and Design faculty in Izmir University of Economics. His works featured in international fairs. Thank you for coming, Stefano.
Thank you for inviting me to this session, and I'm very glad to be here. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you. I will start with my questions, okay?
Okay.
Okay. What is your philosophy on design and life?
Well, first of all, that's a very, very difficult question. It's something that you don't really think about daily. When you wake up, you think, what's my philosophy on life and design? But
Mhm.
I can say that basically when I started studying architecture when I was a student, etc., I kind of wanted to shape my profession over my personality,
Mhm.
and actually maybe not over my personality, on the way I wanted to live my life. So I would say that that was my first naive wish. I can say that somehow I succeeded on that. I accepted that part that part of my life, but I don't believe that that's not only in a design profession or in any profession, but I believe that any profession should fit in your daily life, in your life style. So you should wake up in the morning and feel like you're doing the job you love, etc., etc. That sounds very much cliche,
Mhm.
but it is actually true,
Yeah.
in this sense. So every day I wake up and I try to do stuff. I try to work and merge my life within my personal life within my professional life. So I would say that my personal life is not there, it's blurred. It's completely blurred with my personal life.
Okay. So, when you're designing some objects or furniture, such
Mhm.
stuff, what is your passion when you're designing?
Okay. Well, first of all, I get fascinated by something. I actually am also working as an instructor, and I kind of forbid my students, to say I'm inspired by,
Okay.
but actually I am inspired by it. I would substitute the word inspiring with the I'm fascinated by.
Okay.
So, for example, sometimes I see an object, I see a material, I see a form, etc., and I'm absolutely fascinated by that. And then I try to start working with it. 99% of the cases, it's a failure. But that 1%, it becomes a project. And actually, the 99% failure is because I didn't work enough on the project, or I didn't believe too much in the project. But the 1% becomes something
Mhm.
that I can start working on it, etc. So that's a little bit. I hope I replied to your question.
Yeah. How would you describe yours?
Design has nothing to do with style. Style is something that comes after. To me, I always say to my students, once you finish the design,
Mhm.
then you can start styling it.
Okay. Mhm.
So first, respond to the brief, and the brief could be make a chair.
Mhm.
You make the chair, it's strong, it's comfortable, blah, blah, blah. Then, if you want to make the legs a little bit like this,
Mhm. Mhm.
or a little bit like this, it's up to you.
Okay. I
But
understand.
first of all, you should design. So, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Okay.
style, actually, I wanted to, before this meeting, we talked about a little bit, and this is something that doesn't come from my knowledge, but one of my mentors that I never met, but I read his books, which was Bruno Munari,
Mhm.
was saying luxury is not a design problem.
Mm.
For example, if you have a tap, he was in his book, he was saying that if he has a tap where made out of gold or made out of, I don't know, iron or whatever, the fact that is made out of gold or iron, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm not saying style is not it's bad, but it's not the beginning of the design process, you know. So I cannot say I have a style. I
Okay.
might have a personality, I might have something, but that's not up to me to decide that. And of course, you know that because you're an artist, um, uh, I mean, you don't start the project. My style is
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. It comes by itself, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it
You
comes to your
like it.
personality. I mean, this is, of course.
Yeah, sure. So, what do you love the most about being a designer?
First of all, am I a designer?
I don't know. It must be like that.
I don't know what I love the most about being. I don't know if I feel like a designer, uh, 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 but what I like the most about my job, um, I can say it's a job that lets me explore many different things and let me play.
Mhm.
Um, Let me, for example, if I the few weeks ago I found it. I live on top of a atelier
Mhm.
that they make shoes.
Oh.
Okay,
Mhm.
so one day I found in the trash something very very interesting, made out of rubber, and I posted on the Instagram and I called it peyote because peyote is a magic mushroom that basically they say you don't find this magic mushroom, the magic mushroom finds you.
Oh.
And I posted, and then the crafter from the atelier downstairs just ironically wrote to me, "Do you know what is that?"
Mhm.
And I said, "No, it's Matt, I don't know." And the guy said, "Well, it's a part of a machine, but the rubber, that piece, it's so beautiful." And it's been like 1 month or 1 or 2 months. I'm obsessed by that. I want to do. I said, "Give me 20, and I want them." So basically, what I love about my job is, or what I think it should be the quality of a good designer is being curious.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
for example, I find this object. I was attracted by the form
Yeah.
of that thing, then the material,
Mhm.
etc., etc. And then I'm surrounded by those rubber things. So, what I love about my job is the
Yeah.
curiosity. You know,
You're exploring new things because of your
yes,
curiosity. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
exactly.
So, what do you think? What comes first, material or design idea? It was my question actually, but you answered it because you are focused on the materials, not just the idea of designing something.
I think it a little bit depends in
Okay.
the sense that you can start from a need. I think
Mhm.
design itself starts from a need.
Mhm.
Design is not art,
Yes. Yes.
which also starts from a need. So, for example, uh, as how did I become started working in furnitures? I needed stools for my kitchen, and I was an architecture student. I
Mhm.
said, I'm going to build them myself. And I did that. But sometimes design can be the pretext to explore a material. So I think you can start on two sides.
Mhm.
You can start, there is a material which I'm interested in. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether the final product, it's a chair, it's a vase, it's a table, because actually you're just trying to understand how the material works, or you can start from the function, you know. So and then it's a complete different approach
Yes.
to the problem. So it depends, but yes, I think material is very important, because even if you will start saying, I have to make a chair, you have to have clear in mind if this is going to be a plastic chair,
Mhm.
and if that chair is going to be molded in plastic or a wooden chair or whatever, blah blah blah, because that will influence your design choices and formal choices. The chair, it's always the chair. You're not going to change it. Maybe I can share my website, which is a little bit incomplete, and like all my things is a work in progress. Well, that's a very interesting project for me because actually, let's say it it's kind of my graduation project.
Okay.
It's not actually, but it's sort of my graduation project. Actually, this project is the first project I presented in Salone Satellite. I was before that I was living in Chile, and that's the project I was saying. I actually was started doing furniture for myself. I needed stools and a table, and it's very interesting because this project started when a friend of mine in Santiago de Chile bought a CNC router. It was maybe a very long time ago, and we started playing with that. So this project started from one need, but from also the technology. So I had a friend in a CNC router, we had plywood, and we started
Do you
playing with that.
remember what kind of wood it was?
Plywood. Plywood is
Plywood.
engineered wood.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yes, yes. So we started playing with that, etc., etc., and I just played with the machine. By the way, this project was a sort of a failure.
Why is that?
Because I didn't use effectively the CNC machine. So I don't want to go into details, but doing something like that with CNC is not the best way because you have many problems in the unions, etc., etc. But I learned a lot from that project, and actually, then I brought that project to the Milan Salone Satellite, and the pictures were not that cool. And a photographer friend of mine told me, Stefano, man, you need new pictures. We did them, and I learned a lot. So let's say this project started from a need, but on the other hand, it started because I wanted to explore a certain technology moreover than material.
Okay.
On the other hand, if I go back, tell me if the image, the second project, which was much more successful, it started from the material itself. I mean,
Tell us, why did you choose concrete? It's really interesting because that time it wasn't popular, as I remember.
Yes, it was. I was very interested. It's very interesting and was a very lucky project actually. It's just by a coincidence. One day I was, there's many websites like Art Daily. At the time, Art Daily was not that popular, but other sites of that, and I saw an advert from Italcementi, which is an Italian company producing different types of cement. And I saw an advert, not an advert, but there was a post in the blog about they're explaining how this FX cement was working. So it was very interesting because I saw, again, curiosities, I think is one of the something that somebody working in design or engineering must have. I said, that's a very interesting material and I want to do something with that. So I thought it was going to be easy. Then I worked 6 months just to get these forms. But the interesting part was that when I called Italcementi, they said, okay, I can sell you, but 1 ton of the of the material. And then I don't know, can you see this image now?
Yes.
I changed the website, and then I had the luck that the guys from Italcementi gave me the contact of Carlo Piccinelli from Crea Cemento. And that was the beginning of a very lucky story. We're still in contact. Actually, today we talked with Carlo, and we started working on the vase. They produce concrete objects for some of the most important companies in the world, in Italy, but also for small, like for self-producer. For example, there is this radio here made by It's called Paco.
Mhm.
It's an office from Milano called Digital Habits, and that's all self-production. So it was a very, very nice um, coincidence. But there was work behind that. There was curiosity,
Sure.
some investments, and that's why I believe this project was successful, because it came from some solid methodological basis on approaching the project. In this case, the project starts from the material.
Yes.
And the product itself, it's a pretext. By the way, this is the lamp from Lucidi and Pevere, these people from Foscarini, which were the first, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first doing decorative, interior lamp made out of concrete. It's a very great collaboration between crafters and designers, and that's all of it. Okay, let's see. That's Enzomari. One second. Table Urla.
Yes, it is really
This guy.
creative for me. Yeah, I really like that.
Okay, this is something. It's a little bit special because, first of all, I need to tell you a little bit the context of this table, why it was designed, and um, why is in that place. Basically, some few years ago, there was this idea in Izmir to make an art residency in an agricultural land. So together with Michael Young, who's an architect, he designed the master plan. Actually, we worked together a little bit on that, but he's the main author of this master plan. He was envisioning an art residency in an agricultural land. And basically, several projects have been developed by some other architects after the master plan of Michael, some by Michael, etc., etc. There was a stage, there were some cabins for the things, etc., etc. And I was asked to design also a table, because we thought, when we had our discussion, etc., etc., which should be the first element in an agricultural land that's devoted to art and artists, etc. So we thought that should be a table where people would gather around and eat their meals, discuss some things, etc., etc. And that's what this table come from. Also, because when I got this sort of encargo, I don't know how to say in English, but this sort of commission, basically, I thought that when there is a work site anywhere in the world, the first thing the workers do is build a table. Why? Because maybe they need to open the plans for the construction site, maybe they need to open, maybe they need to eat, maybe they need... So in any construction site, and I always was so much fascinated, actually, I collect them. And when I go to the workers and say, can I have this tripod you built full of concrete? And they are super, why do you want that? And I have it in my living room or balcony. They're amazing. So we thought, which would be the first element? And that's the reason why, by the way, again, there is some mistakes. This is a little bit overstructured, but that's how, and there is some little, no worker would do something like that. He would just nail some planks of wood, etc., etc. So in a way, I would say this is a wrong project. It's not a really honest project, but that was a little bit the idea of this table. And then there is this rock, because this land, this agricultural site, had those very, very big rocks in the site. So I said, why make two legs where I can just put it on top of a rock which is on the site? Absolutely. So that was the story, and that was a challenge, because this table is 5 meters long, very, very big. I don't know where it is now, this art residency. I don't know. They didn't use it. Probably, I don't know, unfortunately, because beside it was a project which it's a little bit manieristic and maybe wrong, but uh, it was very beautiful. It was when we finished, I was like, wow, this is really something
From
interesting.
at the beginning, you were did you think about, okay, let's do two legs, but at the process period you change it, or
No,
how it started?
no, it started from sketch. Immediately, I started like in this, at least in this case, my first sketch was something like that. Immediately with the rock.
Ah, okay, with the rock. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
and that was it. And
Actually, I really like it.
yes, I like it. It was very impressive, sincerely. It was a beautiful project, and I would say that maybe I could have avoided this kind of detail, that because I think that the main detail is this one, how you connect it with the rock, which is the most interesting part of it, I think.
Okay, so let's say, what part of the process excites you the most generally? The at the beginning when you're exploring the material, or I don't
The
know, at the
beginning of
middle?
the process, I'm completely in a state of anxiety, and I'm just saying I'm never gonna be able to do that. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna deliver tomorrow, etc. The part I get excited within the process. So at the moment I start worrying and I start actually work, then I get excited.
Okay.
Because at the very beginning, that's again personality, etc. But normally when I work, I get, for example, in this case, I say, oh man, I need to do something, I need to do a table, what kind of table, etc., etc. And I spend, let's say, 2 weeks thinking I'm never gonna make any table. Then, if for one day I work normally, wake up, started making some research, making some drawings, slowly, blah blah blah, then you start getting excited, because then you start getting excited when you actually work, when you make some research. So for example, in the case of the concrete, you start getting excited when you say, oh wow, you start understanding how the material work. Therefore you say, I can do that, I can do that, I can do, and that's the exciting part, actually.
At this point, can you give advices to the students, for example, who are studying furniture design? Do you have any advices for them? Because you have another character while you are working, because of what I'm asking. Maybe there are students.
My advice is be curious, but be curious and not just be curious on the surface. Sorry. Okay, first of all, it's a tough job in the sense, like it's like any job. Nothing comes um, easy. It's like in sports. It's like in Italian. There's a very nice saying. My mother always tells it to me. It says, "You wanted the bicycle, now you need to cycle."
Yes.
So it doesn't come. So sport, it's a very good metaphor, because basically design is a slow learning process. Architecture also. So normally you would talk about young architect when he's 45. But you would talk about a young manager or young banker when he's 26
Yes.
or 30. Maybe it's not true, but that's a little bit the thing. So there is a good part and bad part on this side. The good part is that when you're 50, you're still young if you're an architect or a designer, because you have experience. It's like sailing. The good sailor is the experienced sailor. But maybe I don't know, maybe I'm talking nonsense, but maybe banking system burns you so fast. You need to be fast in the brain and blah blah blah, etc. So on the other hand, the analogy with sailing, but also going back to construction, the analogy with there is a book I have somewhere here. Actually, I have it here. Sorry.
Okay.
Japanese joinery.
Okay.
So basically, it's a very interesting world. I've never been to Japan. I don't know much about that, but what I've been told is that, for example, the Japanese temple, despite the Christian tradition and the Muslim tradition, if you look at a church, it's always different. There is add-ons, there are styles, etc., etc. But the Japanese temple, it's always the same.
Mm-hmm.
So since hundreds of years, they keep building the same temple.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not concerned about form. They're not concerned about style, etc., or expressing themselves. What they are concerned is to make better the construction.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody could tell you it's beyond beauty and which is subjective, etc. Therefore, what's interesting about that is that it says on this book that a Japanese carpenter, his life is to do every day the same joint in order to reach perfection. And that's amazing in the sense, and that leads to innovation. Mm-hmm. Because if you for 20 years you're trying to do, I don't know, a tenon or a joint or something like that, if you're old, you pass your knowledge, what you've been learning in 30 years of profession, let's say even stupid things. If you're drawing, hold your pencil like that.
Yeah.
You know, when you're an artist, probably your teacher said you should hold your pencil not like that or whatever.
Yeah.
So what I can suggest to somebody, to a student, is be patient. Mm-hmm. And work really, really hard, which I didn't do, by the way. In the sense that it's not my personality, but you need to be patient.
Absolutely.
Because it's a slow learning process, very slow.
And lots
it's
practice.
not something you learned, and it's like, in fact, to my students here, I always ask them, does anybody has some ballet mm-hmm. or music, I mean, conservatoire music education? Mm-hmm. Because those students in general, I'm not saying they're better than the others, but mm-hmm. they know that part. They know how hard, how much you need to try. Mm-hmm. So, for example, Pinterest is great. Mm-hmm. You can get many different inputs, etc. But then, if you see a photo of a house, of a chair, or something, ask yourself, who did it? Look mm-hmm. how it's done, how it's built.
The process. Mm-hmm.
Don't stop, oh, I like it. So unfortunately, what I can see daily, now I'm not working as a designer mostly, but as a instructor, that the commentary on the students, I like the style. Style, as I said at the beginning of this conversation, is not the problem. Mm-hmm. The problem is, okay, you like the style, how do you build that?
Yeah.
So for example, there is this chair I bought today.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes.
There is style, right?
Yes.
There is some style, which is fine, mm-hmm. but that chair folds. Mm-hmm. And if this wasn't here, I bought it because I liked it. But that's not the design problem. The design problem is the weight, if it folds. Mm.
I understand what you mean. Okay.
You understand what I mean? And then, of course, style is an important thing. I wish you could see this detail here. It's very nice because it goes into the corner, whatever. But then once the design problem is solved, meaning I need to do a foldable chair, mm-hmm. then the crafter, the designer could add all the style he wants. Mm-hmm. But the design is that chair is foldable and I can store it and I can put it somewhere, etc. And it's durable. etc. And because probably the carpenter was very skilled, always this decoration, it's very well done. And again, and decoration can be the subject also. So it's something. But first of all, what I would suggest to somebody, to a student, is to be going deep, understand. And I try to put myself in the mind of the person who did that. And that's and try to understand how it works, how it I'm very happy. I have my new chairs now.
I'm so happy for you as well. And do you have a favorite designer?
Yes.
Okay, who is it?
I'm not, I don't like stars. As I told you in the beginning of this conversation, I have some mentors,
Yeah.
which I never had the chance to meet. But I read them, their books. And one of them certainly is Bruno Munari. I can share the photo of him, this guy.
Okay.
It's interesting because the first time I had the chance to teach a course, I ended up finding a book of him in the library, which was called in Italian Da cosa nasce cosa. And in Spanish, even better, the name is Como nacen los objetos, means how objects are born. And it's a design methodology book, which I still read from time to time. And it's very easy, very simple. Munari didn't design, I mean, he was an artist, then he did products, but for me, I would say he was, I tried to learn a lot from what he wrote, and I like his discourse. And then Enzo Mari also, from same generation, which is this man. He died recently, actually. I cannot find the photo, this guy.
Yeah.
Was a very severe discourse on, but also he was somebody that in a way confirmed a little bit my belief. So for example, from this guy's books, because I was not my teacher, I never met him directly, but I learned that a chair is a chair. So don't turn around the thing. I learned that an object is an object. While from Munari, from his books, I learned that he says a very, very beautiful thing in one of his texts. He says, you should design, many adults forget when they were children. So you should explore the world like the children. So for example, something like, not exactly, he says something like that. So for example, the first thing a children does, he sees a pencil, he's attracted by that. Therefore, he takes it in his hand and he starts feeling that pencil. So he's using all his five senses to explore the world, and that's curiosity. So then the children, what does he do? He feels that. Then he tastes that. Then he throws that. Yeah. So in a chapter of a book of him, he says, you should design for the five senses. And if you think about that, for example, me, I'm sitting on a chair. You're sitting on a chair. So for example, the first thing many people would think about ergonomics would be like, okay, my chair, it's comfortable for my back, but I'm also touching my chair.
Sure.
So, and those, imagine if our chair, and now I'm moving because it's rotating, imagine if the chair would make noise.
Yeah.
So again, all of that. So I could say Munari is, I love Enzo Mari, but we're talking about dead people, but and Munari is my, like really my favorite. Bruno Munari. It's like it's unbelievable what he did, what he said, what he wrote, and he dedicated all his life I feel, that's my personal opinion, to teach how to design, which is very important, by the way, because, talking about what we were talking before about when I went to first time to the furniture fair, and I saw many. I never was there before. Sorry?
The furniture fair, where it was.
In Milano, I saw thousands of chairs, thousands, and I asked myself, is there a need to make a new chair? And then after a while, I was a little bit, down of it. Then I said, yes, there is a need. There is a need to make a good chair, not a beautiful chair. So is there a need for a chair? Yes, because we need to sit somewhere. But what's the difference? We need to have good products. We need to have a chair or a pair of shoes or anything which is well made in an ethical way, meaning that they talk about sustainability only about material, but we should talk also about labor. Who build that chair? We need a comfortable chair. We need a chair which is well built, which is durable, blah, blah, blah. So yes, we need chairs, because even if it's very well done, eventually it will break.
I was curious about your new projects as well.
In the university, which was like the first experience for both of us to build a one-to-one livable scale.
Why did you choose this design? Like, let's say, it is also functional, but at the same time looks like a chair. Why did you choose that?
Actually, it's interesting because everybody, people, observers say, what was your concept, your inspiration, etc., etc. Just me and Seva and the students, were saying there was a place with sun. We needed shade. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stefano, for today's topic. Was interesting for me, and it was really nice to see your works. And I hope we will be in touch with you on our platform as well.
Okay, I hope so too. Good night.
Thank you.
See you later.
And also, we appreciate you being with us today. You can also check our online and live courses that will be given by architects and interior designers on our website. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.